Perfect. Hey guys. So I'm Jackie here as an optimizer working at Vine Skills. I worked at Filevine as well. So today we're just going to talk about reporting, how you can get things in a report, and then also having an export of a template. How do we get that emailed to us, and kind of go through the workflows of a report. So initially, I'm just gonna start creating ones. I'll show you how you'll want to pull in the columns and all those details from inside of a build. I'm going to use our sandbox environment. So your environment, of course, will look different than what you'll see here, but we'll say the same concepts will apply into both areas. So I'll go ahead and share my screen here. Can everybody see my screen? Perfect. All right. So inside of Filevine, of course, you'll be able to drop into a project hub, feed, all that good stuff. So when you want to create a report, you'll want to go to Report Builder. So you'll see that over in the top area here, or as you know, you can customize that bar. So you can also click on it over into the Advanced tab as well. So it just depends on kind of how your layout is. As you know, you guys, this is like a newer feature that's applied here at Filevine, but essentially you can move certain items up into your navigation bar up here. But most of them will probably be hamburger menu, and then go down here, you'll see your report builder is where you want to go. First, what I want to do though is you can see how my Filevine looks a lot more like project types and a lot of things like that. But what we'll want to go into is I'm going to use this one as just an example here, this project type here. And we can pick out items that we want to, let's say, report on. Then those items that you can kind of see throughout, we can look at intake, we can look at case summary, but these are static sections inside of Filevine that you can be able to pull into a report, and even criteria down if you only want to see certain projects based on it. So I just wanted to show the build real quick as we're going through, but let's go ahead and navigate over into Report Builder. So I have that already set up just by, let me go to Project Hub just to show you how I got there. Report Builder. So I'm going to do a list of projects report. So just to talk about a little bit about each one of these real quick is there's different type of reporting inside of Filevine in order to get the information you're trying to receive. For instance, if you want all of your deadlines into one report, and it's a repetitive, right? Like one project could have 5 deadlines. You would want to choose a deadlines report for that scenario. But if you want just a list of, I just want to see all my projects that we have that is in this certain drop-down menu. Let's just choose incident type, for example. Or even referral source. I can run a report inside of the list of projects, report list, to get that list, report list. Also for an audit report, this is how you'll be able to narrow in and to see who's doing what, like who's accessed certain projects, who's accessed certain areas inside of Filevine, and be able to kind of monitor and see action items that have been going on inside of Filevine. List of contacts. That would be a list, exactly what it sounds like, a list of contacts that you'll see inside of Filevine that you can pull into an Excel spreadsheet, and if you need like mailers or anything like that. And then list of clients, that will show very similar list of contacts, but only narrow in on the contact type. So the type up in the contact cards of clients. List of notes, that's list of actual activity item notes, meaning anything in this activity feed here, that is what you can pull in that list of notes section. List of tasks, exactly what that one sounds like. I can see a list of tasks from other people, so I can run reports and see how many tasks does this person have outstanding, how many did they complete within the last 30 days, how many they have outstanding that has been overdue for a certain amount of time, things like that. You can do with a list of tasks and then a list of docs. It gives you an itemized list of documents entered and just documents in general inside of Filevine. Project phase counts. These are just counts, meaning exactly what they sound like. You can see how many times a certain hashtag has been used. You can see how many times a phase count has been used for particular project types. Just as a quick scenario of what these top reporting options are. So today I'm going to go ahead and click into list of projects. So what we'll do, and the reason why I want to keep this section up for pulling data is you want to see that the columns are a lot of times use the same wording and language as what you'll see inside of the front end of Filevine. So not anything on the back end, just the front end visibility inside of Filevine. So essentially what I want to do is now choose my columns of the report. So what I want to see, like when this report runs, what do I want to see? This is what you would select here. So I want to see the name of the project. You won't really need org name. That is just the name of what your environment is called. Ours is right here is called Sandbox. Yours will be called typically your law firm name, things like that. So typically that's one that you can get rid of off the bat. You can also choose here what type of phase, first primary, and these options, and you can take those out as well, just depending on what you need. Now let's talk about bringing items in. So let me make sure I'm choosing the project type. A lot of you guys might have to deal with that as well. Some may not, but you want to make sure you're doing the project type of what you actually want to run your report on. So now that's going to give me more common selectors, like category selectors, you'll notice. So you saw the first click, there wasn't that many. Now there's a ton of them. So now I can go through and see all of the type of items I can pull reports on. A lot of these you're going to notice are your section names. So the names of those to the actual right of here, when you're looking at a case, a lot of that you will see would be kind of that portion, but also it can go a little bit more into the actual deadline chains and items like that you're looking at. So for instance, I want to go ahead and pull a report on incident type here, type, what the category type, case type, something along those lines. I copy and paste it in the quick select. And then this right here, that is the section. So intake : that is the section that I'm pulling that data from. So if you have incident type maybe twice in your build, you'll know exactly where you're wanting to pull that information from. So go ahead and click that, and I'll pull in some other details like a contact card here. So I want to see, let's say, who's person performing this intake. Or let's go into another section because I want to show how it can be pulled in across sections. So I'll go ahead and say lead attorney. So we're in case summary. I'm now copying and pasting lead attorney. So what I saw from the front end version here. So you'll be able to see that these are case summary and the lead attorney options. What you'll notice though, it gives you a lot more options because it's pulling everything that's from the contact card, because you can see that this is a contact card, inside as an option in that report. So that's an important detail because what you'll want to do is display related data and columns here. It may decrease performance of this report. That's just if you have tons of stuff in that contact card. Sometimes it can delay and some of the reporting options here. But I can go ahead and hit lead attorney, and you can even see I get more items like address 3, address 4, all those types. So you can scroll and see your options of what you want to bring in. But a lot of times what you want to look for is just the full name. If you just want to see the person's full name, it would be under lead attorney full name. Oh, so it doesn't even matter. So say I'm an associate attorney. It would be associate attorney full name. But you'll need to select the displayed related data columns in it to pull that. That's only for contact card details, mostly. I use that a little bit loosely, but very much so mostly for contact details, because that can go into the report as well as options. So what you want to click here is lead attorney, full name. And then you can also look through and see what else you want to bring in. You can bring in certain dates. This is another field type I wanted to show everyone is, let's look at the statute of limitations. You'll notice this date is a due done versus let's look at a regular date here. That's just a date field. I can then, if I want to see this information, I need to go ahead and I'll copy, paste it in my quick selector, and then I would want to choose the due. So you'll notice I got two options here, the due and the done, so I can choose which one I want to see. Now you notice I always go into here to copy and to paste in here, but it's also a quick select. So I could type in lead attorney. If I already know firsthand, that's what it's called. A lot of times I like to do the copy and paste because I want to make sure I give it the exact same language that it's in word usage and verbiage that is used in the template or the project type. But if you know it really well and you already know things are called lead attorney, you can come in here and type that out. Make sure to always pay attention though to where you're pulling it. So this would be pulling it from the team section inside of Filevine versus this is pulling it from the case summary section of Filevine. And what I mean by that is case summary here, team is down here. So if your role is attorney here, that is where the data will be pulling from. That's something just important to kind of to note and stuff. Okay, so now we have the report columns that I'm looking for here. I can then go into choose criteria. Things I'll want to note here is this is how you'll narrow down your search. So if you're searching, if I were to run this report, it's going to give me every every case that we have inside of this project type. It's going to show me in the exact order that I wanted it in with the columns. Let me just go ahead and run it just to give you an example here. So it's not going to criteria anything down. Nothing. I'm just going to see everything when I run it like this. Maybe I should have ran it. Shouldn't have ran it as an example.
I think you're totally good. While we're waiting for the report to run, when you originally go to set up columns, there are going to be some standard columns that get added that you can remove if you want. You can also rearrange the order of the columns if you'd prefer for them to be in a different kind of order. If you don't do it at the setup columns as far as rearranging, you can do it in this run report area once this does run. Sometimes if you have a lot of data, it does take Report Builder a little while to run. So feel free to go into another tab, do something else, and you can always come back to look as well. And then we have a project open. I usually recommend, especially as you start running reports, to have a project open just so that you can visually see where your data points are coming from and what you kind of want to pull in.
Perfect. Thank you. So we finally got the list of projects to run. So as you can see, everything pulls in. We got all the cases that we have open inside of that project type. So it's not narrowed in on anything. So let's say if I want incident type, just as an example, and I want only, let's say, we'll choose it in the criteria portion. So I'll go over into criteria. And then I'll be able to choose where we select it. So for instance, just to show you guys where I'm pulling this information from, intake, then we see incident type here. So I can go into find filter, click incident type, and this shows you, this is in my intake section and what type of information am I looking for. Do I want to see if this is empty? This is a great report. I can then go in and make sure everybody is making sure the case type is there. It's just kind of like a CYA report, right? Like I want to see anytime that the case doesn't have that, so then I can give it to staff members and say, okay, these are all the cases that need to be updated inside of Filevine to make sure we have data reliability there. We can see even when it is in something and when it's not in something. So I could go in and say, just show you what it looks like, is not in these certain practice areas here. And this is what the drop-down selections are. So any of the selections you're going to see here is what the drop-down options are inside of Filevine as well. So I'll go ahead and choose is in. And then select, I'll just do motor, or I think I saw a lot more of the motor vehicle ones. I can also add layers to this, meaning I only want to see that project type with lead attorney, or lead attorney is a certain person. So once again, I can go in. I want to make sure I'm looking at the right one, right? I choose case summary on this one because I'm saying this is the data I want to show. Lead attorney. Full name. There we go. So apostrophe S on that one. And then say is, contains, is not, or does not contain. So this is what is important. So I usually like to go into contains just because if I misspell or something like that, it's just easier that I can say contains Derek and see kind of what our items are. Now, this is going to show me things that are a motor vehicle collision that has a lead attorney, Derek. There's not inside of Filevine, there's not a way for me to be like both. I can't say I want motor vehicle and when they contain, these are have to be met, meaning these are absolutes, like this criteria is going to show me motor vehicle cases when Derek is selected as the lead attorney. And then this will run to kind of give you an idea what that looks like. And I chose that just because pretty sure he is, at least on this case, the lead attorney here. Yep. Perfect. So now you can see I only have 3 results versus the amount of results were, a lot more when I just ran it and had no criteria that was met. And you can see now, these are all the incident types, and these are all the lead attorney ones, with Derek on it. And then I can see the statute. So this is just a good way to be able to, and it's a list of projects. So none of these are replicating itself. It's all just each project is its own. And what we mean by project is case, matter, however people use that term, but that's what we mean by project. And now you can see the results that we got from it. And so we can also go ahead and click on save and export. And then this is how I save my reports. So I can hit save as, name it what I want. Just say VA with Derek as lead. Hit save. Sometimes that
resist the urge to hit save more than once on this screen. You'll see in the background the name changed, but sometimes this little box does take a little while to go away. And then if you do add any criteria like Jacky did, you'll want to make sure you put that in your report title so that you know exactly what data you're going to get if you rerun this report.
Perfect. So now we can see, as soon as I saved it, I received more options, right? I can see I can get exports, export it, CSV report, auto report setting, share report, and even I can remove this from reports altogether. So first I want to go in and kind of show you guys just what the export looks like. So I can click on a Excel document here, and it's going to generate an Excel spreadsheet that looks like, and like I said, some of these report options take just a tad bit longer, but let me show you what that looks like here. So it automatically will spit out a report that looks like this. So exactly what we saw in Filevine, but in a spreadsheet where I can go in and filter things out and look at things a little bit more closely. I can also make that templated as well, meaning I can go into export options here and generate a actual template of what I want to make the change as. So this is going to look a little bit more, I guess like a DocGen type of merge code look to it. But it's the exact same thing that we just saw. The name of the case, phase, primary, incident type, lead attorney, all that good stuff. I can make changes to this and then save it back into Filevine. So every time I generate this report, it just makes that look like it does the same look for me and filters. So I can go ahead and click here. Let's say I just want to filter and sort, have things, where I can click on the arrows. Then I can even change the aesthetic of this. I can say I want it to be, that color in the middle, and even put a company logo on it, all that stuff. So anytime this gets emailed to me or I generate this report and get the Excel version, then this is the ideal image of what it looks like. So I'm going to hit,
there's a question on criteria for team or project team. When selecting has a primary where user is or is not, can you add multiple usernames or just one?
So it depends. Let's see. Let me read it. I think you can add multiple usernames on that particular one, but it's the best way to search for that is it's going to choose both of those. Like the criteria is going to look for both of those. So if you want a list of each individual on one report, a lot of times we might have to run a, fusion, something along those lines in order to get both of those. Because when you're criteriaing things out, that means you're looking for something, they're absolutes, right? Like I'm looking for somebody with first name, last name, Derek Smith, and someone also named Jacqueline Smith. And if I put those as both, then it's going to look for those as the result options. So just depends on how you want to approach that portion.
If you are looking to do like 2 users, you can also, or multiple users, you can also filter your report. So instead of using criteria, you can just filter and kind of get a list. Or you could run a fusion so that those key points come out. If there is an option to add multiple, the criteria will tell you, it'll say add an item. And that's how you know you can add multiple. If it doesn't have that, it's just one option. That's the only thing that you can add there.
Yeah. Yeah, in phases you can do it. So I could say I want phases in this phase, this phase, this phase. But we just want to watch out for things that we're excluding when we're adding those types of criteria in it. Okay, so now I'm going to upload that template that we just made those few edits on here. And I hit the upload button and it should now, perfect. The template is uploaded. So what that will just look like is anytime I export this one now, so I'm going to export to Excel. Let me give you another option of how to do that. I can export it right here. And then it's going to generate a test one for me. And you can see now how that template held, where it was making things, the backdrop as background image to be black, and then the filtering options here as well. So then I can go through and filter. I want to only see the first primaries of not Jen, not Sarah, but only Danielle. And then you can do that. And of course, add them whenever you need them. So that's another option too, with exporting that into the Excel template portion. All right. So now anytime I get this actual report sent to me in an email, I can have it sent to me directly just with an Excel template like that already filtered out for me, so I can just click who I want to see. So how you be able to do those auto report settings is I click on auto report, save frequency. So if you'll notice, one thing I would like to mention here is that the email here is will be the user email. So if you're doing it, then it would be your email. I can't make an auto report go to someone else. inside of Filevine. So I can't say I want my attorney to see this report emailed every certain days. This is a per user setting, so it would have to be done in this method. So you would click here and see if you want a weekly, monthly, yearly, and then select what time zone you're in that you would like to have that delivered to you. And then you can go ahead and choose in the once they're greened out, that's how often I would get it. So that means I would get this report sent to me weekly, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then same thing, if you want it, monthly, you can choose it, and then it's going to take what day you want it in that month. And then yearly, it's going to tell you, what month you would want that actually sent to you. So those are the options for the auto report setting portion. Once you hit save, that's when you would get that report sent to you. Now we can do shared reports. So I can come in here and share this report with everyone. So I want everyone to see this report inside of Filevine. So you just click on your actual org environment name, or you can say, I want to only send it to Derek since it's only his here. I can click that, move him over into the user, hit close, and now he'll have this option as a report that he'll see inside his Filevine under the saved reports inside of Filevine, which is when you're looking at it, it would be right to the right of the report selectors you have that I'll show you in a minute as well. Perfect. Okay, so that's how you run a report through Filevine and some of these options. So for that saved report, you can go in back into like your report builder and be able to see it's right here. And then on Derek's user, he would see it over here as well. So he would see, these are all of our saved reports right here. So we have a ton right now, just because this is our sandbox, but this is a report that you would be able to see on your saved items. Now, let's go ahead and move into a collection export. So what that would look like is for a collection section. So we were just talking about all these static sections and all that good stuff. What a collection section would look like is something like a medicals, liens, expense request. You see how you see this add item? Anything that you're looking at that you need to add an additional item to, that is a collection section. Anything that is just stagnant information, this would be a static section. So a collection export, I can have placed up here, and it will export a lot of the data into a Excel format to be able to navigate and report off things a little bit easier. So let's just give an example here. It looks like we have one already done for medicals. So let me just go to expense request. So for the expense request, if I want to do an export of all my expenses to give to the client at the end, just to show them, hey, look at all these expenses that we gained here, is I can go ahead and go in and choose project type. Like I said, this will be a lot easier for you guys to see. We are a sandbox, so you will see a ton of items in here. And then I can go in and see how I gained additional list options. So project list report, I was able to choose, but if I want to choose anything in the collection, I need to choose that project type pretty early on when I try to build that report to gather, which type of report I'm looking for. I want to go in and you'll notice list of blank items. This is all of the collection sections here. So you'll notice that anything in the right here list of are collection section items as well. So I'll go ahead and let's do a list of expense request items. And then put in as much information as I want here. So I want to let them know, let's see, the type of expense, the amount. So I don't really want to know the project name. I just want to know the vendor first name, expense type. Let's look at this. Go to my expense request, expense type. I want to see amount. I think we already have that one in there. Yep. And then date. I see that. And then I want to see the description of the expenses. Perfect. So now I can see vendor, amount, expense, date, all that good stuff. So I want to see the date first, the vendor amount, or the next thing up is the expense type, and then the description. And then I want to see the amount last. All right, so now I can go in and go ahead and click choose criteria. On this one, I want all of it. I want, because this is a per project, I want to show all of my expenses so that client knows exactly what has been paid out that needs to be reimbursed. But I can criteria things down. So let's say if it was a credit card expense type, don't really care about that one. I just wanted to show checks. I can be able to filter that out so it only pulls in that. But for this example, I'm going to use everything. And I'm going to hit run report. But the report is not actually what I'm looking for here. What I'm going to be looking for here is for that export in that individual section, but I just need to run the report just to make sure I can get through it all. So let's see if I can go ahead and save this one. See if I can go ahead and hit save. It's going to take me a second here. Make sure the report ran smoothly, because I'm going to need that report to show you guys how to do it on the back end on the customs editor, how to apply this report to the collection item. So then you can see how it removes it and takes the export out. And you can see how when I'm trying to save it, I don't get those extra export options here. So that's how I know it's not fully saved inside of Filevine until I can see my auto reporting settings and all of that. That's how I'll know I'm good to go. I can now move forward. Perfect. So now I can see this is a saved report, list of expense request items for expenses. So now what I want to do, because I want that collection export, I want to go ahead and go into my personal injury project type over here, just to show as an example. Oh, sorry, I need to go into advanced, customs editor, and go ahead and click on personal injury. Now I want to go into the expense section. So expense request section right here. And I will want to select show collection options here. So let me just go over that one more time. Show collection options, little plus button gives us a little bit more. It's going to ask for a upload of the actual template, export template I want to use. That is coming from the report I just built. So you'll notice I hit add, and that right here is the report I just created. And it's already there because it knows it created a list of export request items from this particular section. So you don't have to name it anything. Like as soon as you create a report from that list, like a list of section name report, it's going to know that it is an option for you guys to use. I go ahead and move that over. And then I can be able to see it if I refresh. Make sure all that is saved. If I refresh here, you can now see I have an option here for an export. I click on that, and it should give me the actual report that I needed it to be. Yep. With date, expense type, expense description, vendor, and then the amount. So now in any case, not just this one, I can go into any of the cases that uses this project type, And there's going to be a button now here that I can export all that information into a Excel to be able to, either give to the client, to be able to review myself, just to give a little bit more context onto what's going on, especially as sometimes expenses can go really long for a client as well. All right. So, and you can do these in each individual like medicals, and you can have multiples in there, meaning I can click on, a Word example. I can do a collection export of a Excel like we just did. The way you determine that is by the report you built. So for instance, on that one, I can change my report by just changing the export options from this one. Meaning if I go in here and I update it and say, I want it to have my letterhead, I want it to say your case, like your name and your expense for the client, you could be able to do that by using the template inside of the report template that we kind of updated on the beginning of the first report we did. And that is the template that will be exported here. So it would be this template export options. Once I update it by generating a default template, update what I want it to look like. Once I run that, it will then show that formatting. It keeps the formatting you put as the template version.
So if you have data, I know in the last report that Jackie ran, it had the project name or it was repeating Derek's name because that was part of the filter. You obviously don't want those to repeat in your report. You can always move those out of the repeat options. That way you have like a clean, clear report from your collection section.
Exactly. So sometimes people like to run with all of the details and then just strip from there, just depending on kind of the export options there. And then you can choose also, do I want it in Word? I can default my template to Word or I can default it to Excel. When it's money related, it's usually better to do Excel. But sometimes if you want to create like generating a letter to all of these people in this column, then you can do it by a Word document. And what that would look like is very similar here. You would come over here, hit export options, and then it will populate a Word doc with those examples in it. So just to show you what that looks like real quick. So this is a quick example. It will show you provider balance and then have it in a table for you. And then this is the one we created of all the expenses. And yes, so another thing to mention on this particular example as well is I can even make this export where I only see it. So if anybody else pulls it, then they won't be able to see it. And the way you can measure who you want to see it is by the shared report down here. If I share it with everyone here, then anybody who generates that will be able to see it. But if I don't, and I just want certain people to see it, then when they click on it, they'll be able to actually see the data for it and all, because they have that report saved in theirs. So just again, share report to everyone if you want to do this for everyone is an important note there. And yeah, and as we have a little bit more time, just to go over real quick too, how the actual audit report looks. So for instance, when I click on audit report, I usually recommend you, there's not many, actual field selectors that I can get from audit report. But typically just suggest everybody, having everything pulled into it. So then you can see everything that's going on inside of it. And then I can then choose criteria. So let's say I just want to see things that happened the last 2 days. And another thing to for here is 62 days before today. So Filevine only has an audit trail of those 62-day increments, meaning if I want to change this, I can go into dates between, so login times between. Yeah, let me remove this one. It didn't like me wanting to do it first. And then I could do later dates. So it's not just those last 62 days. It could be increments. It just has to be in that increment time. So I can do it past 62 days as well. But let's just go ahead and say Monday, through today. And then I wanted to see the person that has the name. And let's just keep picking on Derek. Actually, let me do Vine skills and see, because I don't know if Derek has actually did any, so I might produce nothing. So let's run this report and it should show anything that says the Vine skills. Yep. So then it will show everything that ended up in it, like accessing and time stamping those logs of what happened. So I can see what the action item was. Did I read something? What project type was affected, or what type was affected, a project was, and individual items on each project. And I can even narrow it down like, something's weird with this one particular project. So I can even narrow it down per project level. So I can go in and say, I just want to look at things in this particular project, which is a nice action to kind of do. Project name contains I think I saw something in there that said Gandalf the Great or something.
There is a question. If I archive a shared report, does it get archived for everyone or just me?
It would be getting archived for everyone as well. So what we would recommend in that case is when a shared report is shared with them, they can save as and save their version of it. So you can do the building, meaning I can produce all of this, the building for it. Yeah, get off the gate for that. But I can produce all of the building and what the criteria is, so they don't have to waste time on that. Share it with them, and then them save as, and then that's their report now. But use the based off of what you've built essentially.
So as long as they'll be good, any changes you even make to the shared report won't impact their saved version.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point too. So a lot of people use their report and repeat it. So if they want to see all tasks giving to this team, they can run that report and then change the team name and keep sending out and still layer that template. So I could save this report, go back to it, and just update the criteria to a different user. So then I'm not having to rebuild the whole columns, the criteria, all of that. I can just come in here and say, I want instead now, let's give Derek a shot and see if anything comes through on that. Yeah, nothing came through on that, but just kind of that example of things as well.
And if you don't want to utilize, again, like a specific project maybe, but you do want to see all of the things that have been done on a project, you can use the grouping feature when you go in to run a report. And that will allow for all of the like items to be grouped together. So if you do it based off of project name, it'll group all of the action items for a specific project together, and you can view there. That way you don't have to run the report for every single project.
Yeah, and it'll show you like which, these were all grouped, of course, because there's no project affected. So these are just shared with, that was a report I shared with an organization. But this is the personal injury one. So you can see all the actions I did on this one case by grouping it. That was a lot.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Jacky. I don't see any other questions. If you all do have any, feel free to pop them into the chat while we wait for that. If you all have been in Filevine for a while and are looking to get some optimization done, we do offer optimization services. including a free Filevine audit so that you have a better idea of the best place for you all to start with revamping and optimizing your Filevine. I'm also going to put my email as well as Jacky's email, excuse me, in the chat. That way, if you all have any questions or need anything, you can reach out to us. If you are interested in any of our services, we can definitely get you connected to the right people to make that happen. We do all things Filevine and Filevine related products. So lead docket, FVDA, Domo, Periscope, Workato, Zapier, any kind of automations that you need, QuickBooks Connect. We kind of try to do everything under the sun. So if you have questions or need anything, definitely feel free to let us know. I don't see any questions that have come through. So thank you so much, Jacky. Thank you all for joining us, and we hope to see you for another free help.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.